now let's go ahead and jump into battle number 1 of match number 1 today, River of Blood versus Cazadores.
Well, Junior, I feel like your predictions might be pretty spot on, at least for the tank lineups. River of Blood is going to sport 2 AMX 5100s and 3 IS-3s, whereas the Cazadores are going to bring 3 AMX 5100s and 2 IS-3s. No Pershings, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. No Pershings or T-32s this time, but there's always another map. We could see those tanks, and River of Blood seems to be going to the hillside, and Cazadores may be doing the same. Now GQ has positioned himself just north of the courtyard in this little area, this embankment hill area, where he can roll off away from the ruins, but to be able to scout if there's any initial push or aggression coming out from Cazadores, which is a possibility. We have seen Cazadores push across the courtyard in the past. GQ in the T1 is able to spot Logos in the IS-3. Now that is some crucial information to detail for River of Blood that, hey, at least 2 now, CS-28 has been spotted, of the heavy tanks are not going to be on the hill.
That is so huge. River Blood is sending 5 tier 8s up to the hill, and once they spot Kufo, they're going to recognize immediately that they have an overmatch and that they can probably win that fight on the hill. Now, Kufo, if he's very smart about it, could get away. And also, just to remind you guys, on the other side, Arg and Sapo Pepe have been scoring off, and Arg is not doing well in this engagement, as Sapo Pepe is ripping him to shreds all the way from G3. Arg has not been able to land a shot yet. Now, I'm actually going to jump over to the hill where Jonah is, because I feel like he's about to spot those tier 8s.
Savage is going to be leading the charge in his IS-3. The T1 has been spotted, but how much does he see? He only sees Doc Golem for right now. But Savage is going to have to be careful with this, and the rest of Captain Blood, because if too much is scouted, this could be too much information that they gave away to the Cazadores. Kufo is spotted in his 5100. No shots fire from any of the IS-3s that did see him, but now they were going to get into position. But the Cazadores are now going to move into defensive mode on the bottom of the hill around their flag capture.
It was a great reaction from the Cazadores, very intelligently played by Kufo. This is not a common position that he took up. I feel like he predicted the River of Blood move expertly, and he's backed down the hill now. And also Logos and Cess, 2 battle buddies for life, are now actually facing a little bit the wrong way, as River of Blood looks like they're about to come around the corner on these 2 IS-3s, and there's Captain Blood shots going into Cess. 2 hits down to 645.
Huge hits coming from the IS-3s. Another one from Doc Golem. 207 is left on CES-28. It looks like the 5100 Canada Doc did take some fire right across the way as the IS-3s are focused down that alleyway. But this is good for River of Blood. They can now charge in since one of the 2 tanks are on super low health. One of them at 5100, the other one an IS-3. And now River of Blood's going to embank themselves just around this corner, and Dopper is going to get some shots around that corner while River of Blood's going to storm in those IS-3s. Nice move by Dopper, but he's going to have to get quickly away here to set up a counterflake, which he will.
Doc Golem is actually going to be going in it looked like alone, but there's Captain Blood right behind him. Doc Golem's taking some huge hits. Kufo and both Cess are going to go down, whereas on the other side, it looks like Dopper was able to actually take out, that was Thug's Cry. And this is a fight going way into the favor of River of Blood right off the start. Super aggressive.
Very aggressive, getting the isolation on those tanks first. Now Logos is still left alive. He will land at least 1 or 2 shots on Savagey, but that's okay. Savagey, Canada Duck, and Captain Blood have enough HP to survive at least 1 more hit. Doc Golem is the one that's hurting, and that's why they put him to the rear of the pain train coming around the corner. And there's another shot from Captain Blood. Looks like that one missed. But Logos, another bounce from Savagey here against Logos. Logos trying to hold the line against River of Blood. It will be too little for him to stop. Another shot from Captain Blood, and Logos gets hurt pretty bad there.
Pollins is going to come in a second. No, not going to be enough time to save Logos. Pollins, though, should be reloaded fairly soon, although I guess there's not much hope for him, as there he takes a huge hit. And again, there's only 1 tank left for the Cazadores on their first choice of Himmelsdorf.
And that's Jonah too. I'm trying to figure out in my mind the type of approach Cazadores was trying to accomplish on this map. And River of Blood completely shut them down, and it was that hill play and committing those heavy tanks to the hill play and scouting that information with those 2 IS-3s was very crucial. GQ is able to do that. And now it's GQ versus Jonah just around the corner. GQ gets the initial shots, but Jonah gets the kill with 5 HP left on his tank. The Canada Duck gets the cleanup, plus only 5 seconds left on the flag capture. And River of Blood will take battle number 1.
Super aggressive out of River of Blood. They set the tone, the pace for the entire match, and that's why it looked like the Cazadores weren't really having much of a strategy. They didn't get a chance to play their game, and that's exactly the advantage of playing aggressively. That's why River of Blood was doing that, like you were talking about in the qualifiers for Season 1, and why they looked so dominant then. They were setting the pace, other teams were not prepared, and now we're seeing them get back into that style and do it even better in Season 2.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get Junior's thoughts and then get ready for battle number 2. Stay tuned. You're watching WGLNA.
For River of Blood, we have 2 T-32s, a T-69, and 2 1390s. Whereas the Cazadores have opted for 3 T-69s and 2 1390s. A heavy, heavy lineup from River of Blood. This is going to be very big and slow, and I feel like the Cazadores might be able to do something with this, and it looks like it's going to be their status quo strategy for Prohorovka, sending their T-69s to the west.
Yep, I would like to see them trying to get behind River of Blood, even using the railroad system to do so. We saw Fulcrum do that with Nagatron and his T-69, or it might have been a 1390, getting all the way to down to the south side, peeking across the corridor, landing some shots, and then moving away. And getting behind your enemy and doing that is going to jumble them up with whatever plan they were trying to execute. The T-32 is on the field, as we see Canada Duck and his T-32, and joining him the T-32 will be Doc Golem. This is a positional play halfway through the map of locking down a quadrant, locking down a section, and the T-32s staying there, stationary, not just as targets, but also locking down a specific angle to see while the rest of their team can maneuver themselves. However, because they're slower compared to these lighter tanks, it may be a bit of a gamble if Cazadores is able to turret break them or to land some initial shots to get the HP
I think
lower
it mostly will come down to them outplaying the map, like
Yes.
getting more control of the majority of the map and then trying to abuse it there. I feel like some nice tracks control should work out, but also Savagey took a hit and from a T-69, I believe, all the way in the southwest. So if that can keep happening, maybe the health pools can be evened up. Cazadores can then make a push. Now, you're looking at it right now. He's down to, what is he down to?
He's down 1104 to 1350, so he took one solid hit, and that hit, trying to see where it landed here. I actually don't see any damage on his
Look at the
yeah.
observation device on the left side of the turret.
There it is.
Yeah.
Right there.
Wow.
Right through.
And that's going to hurt his optics. That's going to hurt his spotting. Unless he burned his kit on there, that's less than 400 meters view range. Of course, these guys have every single cruise skill on their tanks so that we have a perfectly even playing field.
Would you burn your kit on that, or would you wait till you were tracked?
I would not burn my kit because I have Eagle Eye. And that is a 2% boost when your optics are fine, jumps to a 20% boost on view range when your optics are damaged.
Okay.
So I'd hold on to that kit. Of course, I believe you're going to have slightly less efficient view range, but only a little bit because you have such amazing cruise skills. You're already seeing probably over 400 even with damaged optics at this point.
Well, good to know, and it's nice to have all those cruise skills available on your tank, since all of these tankers do have specific tank accounts, so they all have the same even playing field here.
Part of me wants them to have like 3 or 4 cruise skills and then have them choose.
We did talk about that.
Yeah, it's a cool conversation,
variable.
but it's a whole lot to consider.
Yes, it
and
is.
especially if they want to pick a tank on the fly, they'd have to set up the crew and with like a minute 30 seconds to pick tanks.
Well, they have a minute and 30 seconds. Yeah, as
It
we
would
said.
be quite interesting to see what you could get. Maybe they would have more rainbow colors of their tanks. They would have 2 guys with a setup, say for the 132, and then they could have 2 other guys on the team with another setup for the 132.
Like a scouty setup and then maybe a setup more for
right.
brawling and combat.
So exactly.
Yeah.
So then you would have a multitude of players playing a single role rather than what we see now. If you see Seth on Himmelsdorf, you always see him in the IS-3 with the logos. You don't see them in AMX 5100s. So to see something like that, I think it would be an interesting meta.
Gentlemen, it's entertaining to note that Prohorovka has become more of a standstill map in the past couple weeks compared to the fierce firefight action we've seen. Not for all scenarios, not for all battles, but for a larger number compared to Season 1. And a couple shots now ringing out against CES-28. I was about to bring up that we have seen some teams fully commit to a type of attack pattern, knowing that they can have a T1 still left alive because of the 8-point rule. Speaking of T1s, Jonah 2 goes down. Captain Blood gets the kill in the first blood against the Cazadores. Eyes and ears will be less for the Cazadores. Captain Blood and Canada Duck could tag team here, moving to the south across the railroad tracks.
Is that he's crossed the tracks now, has he?
The T-32 has not crossed the
Okay,
tracks.
he's
getting
really
close.
I'm looking at the
Yes.
mini-map, and all I'm seeing is he's really close to those tracks. That would be the move if I were River of Blood to make. You know, if you just push over with the C-32, and he's managed to not even get spotted. I don't think I've seen Canada get spotted at all. So he could be getting shots out on Logos and Kufo in the 1390s, but he's not quite going for that commitment. I believe River Blood's probably hesitant because they don't want their other tanks to be overmatched, even though I feel like Savagey and Doc Golem would be able to put out enough damage to punish the Cazadores for being aggressive and noting that overmatch. Oh, there's Canada finally spotted out in the open. I don't think he spotted anyone in return. I see no light bulbs for Logos or Kufo, so unfortunately Canada has had his position blown, and it looks like Kufo might make his way over. No, he's just going to stop. I was thinking Kufo might make his way over into the east towards the tracks to try and cover Canada and try and run some kind of interference or at least keep him spotted. And actually, wow, take a look at this. T-69s have moved up.
They have. And Cazadores have taken about half the map from where they were, but River of Blood still has better map control. They still have more control just past the E line, at least with their sighting. Now, Logos and Kufo are going to be going up and down in their light tanks, trying to see if they can scout anything possible to land a shot for some of the tanks that are further back. No dice so far between the two. Kufo is spotted. Canada tries to land a shot against him in that 1390, but Kufo heads straight back down to the bottom of the bowl area.
And something else I like that I'm seeing is look at Arg in the T1. I believe he might get spotted in a moment if he goes over. And Thug's Cry is the T1 in the south all the way in K56. And he will spot Arg, which could be an indication. But it looks like there is a push coming out of the Cazadores. They are in the middle of the map going straight for Doc Golem and Savagey.
And they do land they fire a couple shots, and one of them goes straight over Savagey, but they're trying to target fire him, and he does go down. Doc Golem still left alive. Will be the next one that's targeted in the T-32 because of his slower rate of fire. And he gets surrounded on both sides. Sapo Pepe and the T-69 trying to take him out, but Dopper is able to kill Kufo before he is exterminated. Dopper now on the run away from the rest of the tanks in the 1390. Hopefully he won't get tracked here. He does take a bad hit to the rear. Logos will be chasing him in his 1390, but Dopper may be swinging around here to help Captain Blood. Captain Blood in his 1390 is able to get the kill against Sapo Pepe. And Dopper still left alive, may get a shot on CES-28. No, it looks like he is reloading, but Canada Duck streaming in from the east side. Could have a nice setup here, and he does land a shot against CES-28. No damage has been done to Canada Duck. This may be a little bit of bait for him to move in. But River of Blood has good, swift control of the map. There is one tank still left alive at full HP. That is Logos, or next to full HP. But he can be cut off from the flag cap here, and Canada Duck's going to stream in against his T-69. Slow and patient with his shot, lines it up. The bounce
right off
from
the gun
T-69.
mantlet. No more 300 pen for that T-69. Those shots aren't going to pen like they used to.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's how you use a T-32. You move up against your opponent at a hold-down position, so only your gun turret is exposed, and you move in for the kill. Nice work by Canada Duck here. Logos is able to get the cleanup kill against Dopper. Captain Blood in his 1390 is going to swiftly move in as fast as he can to avenge his friend and get the next win here. Lining up a shot, Logos misses the T1. And now Captain Blood's going to be coming straight across the way here. The T-32 is able to land a hit against Logos, make it easier for Captain Blood to get the cleanup kill. There's one hit, 300 HP left. There's another one, 31, and Captain Blood gets the final hit. River of Blood takes battle number 2 on Prohorovka. A standstill for a little while from the Cazadores, but they were able to push in. Smart tactic initially to focus one tank at a time, but River of Blood was too spread out and was able to land those shots inward in a concave of fire rather than Cazadores moving in guerrilla tactics.
Yeah, and I felt like the Cazadores didn't have enough of a lead to go in. With two T-32s, you have a lot of hit points, you have a lot of armor, and on top of that, they had a T-69 with there. It's so punishing to just walk into that, because against consistent fire tanks, you have to just come up there right at the minimum distance, right over that hill, surprise your opponent. they came right at him from the front. And there you have the River of Blood team set up. They want Cazadores to push in like that. They want them to do that. They have T-32s. They don't want to have to be chasing around Cazadores. They want Cazadores to come to them. And Cazadores played into their strategy perfectly, which got River of Blood, who is known for being an aggressive team, a win for a passive play.
And they're one win away from taking this series. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back to Junior with his thoughts after that, and possibly the last match of River of Blood versus Cazadores. We'll find out after this.
Looking at the tanks, seeing if we have surprises. River of Blood, same lineup as last time. 2 AMX 5100s and 3 IS-3s. Cazadores, same thing again. 3 AMX 5100s and 2 IS-3s. Teams bringing these same lineups as last time, but different sides.
Keto Duck is destroying the supplies at his base. You always want to do that because we have seen some games where the tanks are able to hide behind the supplies and get the flag cap victory, to the shame of their opposing team, which is unfortunate.
Just a little chore right at the beginning of the match.
Yep.
No
And you
reason
always
for
have one player responsible for it. You don't try to, divvy it up and say, okay, you're responsible for doing this at the beginning of the match, every match.
Yeah, it's generally like whenever I did it, it was always someone called it. Like you
Yep.
spawn for it, and if no one calls it, I was like, hey, go destroy this place. or like one of your IS-3s will shoot it or something.
What do you do in pub matches?
I load an HE round.
And blow it up?
Yeah, you have to hit the box just so, or you have to hit the tarp thing just so.
So you blow
that
up all the supplies.
So you blow them up because you don't want to waste 2 HE shells on it.
There's actually 2 supplies,
Nice
and
credits.
you have to take both of them now.
Well, it looks like River of Blood's going for the same type of format we saw, just reversed from the south side. And Cazadores may be prepared for them up here, but 2 of their heavies are going to stick close to their flag cap. And Canada Duck's going to
Cazadores.
stream all the way to the left
They're
here.
barely
See?
missing this approach
Yeah.
by River of Blood.
So I actually like this approach, and I'd like to comment on it. As Simple Tankers does this quite often, you'll see the south has the advantage because you can actually approach around the west of that castle that we're looking at and not be spotted. So you leave one, Doc Golem just got spotted, you leave a tank there, and then you move the rest of your forces around, and what that does is it gives your enemy a false sense of security.
Yeah.
So then you just suck them in, flank in, and then you have 3 to 5 tanks surrounded.
And here's
easy
Savage E
cleanup.
just getting spotted out by Kufo. Kufo does escape without taking any damage. Pollins, however, took damage from Captain Blood, I think. And he's down to 992 as the 5100s are just going to scramble away from the hill, trying to get away just in time. Looks like all the 5100s will get away safely. Captain Blood getting spotted out by Sapo Pepe at the last second. Looks like Logos and Cess, those 2 battle buddies for life, have come to help support the hill, and they will be waiting down.
There was some hesitation for River of Blood not going around the castle. If they would have just not stopped in one of those 5100s and IS-3s, they could have landed a couple more shots. Was that hesitation because they didn't want to catch themselves alone around the castle?
Yeah, so what you have to do with the castle is you actually have to jump on it before your enemy can make a decision like Cazadores did. The whole strategy with the hill when you bring up 5 guys is you have to really approach the hill in aggressive stance, and then you have to immediately retract from the hill. And River of Blood actually lost about 45 to 50 seconds sitting up on the hill there, because as soon as those 5100s left the hill, they should have immediately turned around and set up another approach. Now we're going to be at an awkward standstill as both teams don't know what's happening now. If River of Blood would have just left Doc Golem where he was, didn't pull him out, and they pounced on those 5100s before they could retract down the hill, we would see a much different game right now.
And actually, while you were talking, Thug's Cry was taken down by Canaduck on all the way up on the hill. I believe that was Arg spotting out Thug's Cry, and then from the hill, Canaduck getting that perfect little shot all the way across the map. That is a T1 down for the Cazadores, another lead for the River of Blood again on Himmelsdorf by killing T1s early on. It's just, it looks like they've got this down to kind of down to a science. Of course, hesitation does kind of
It
cripple
has
them.
spoiled their strategy
Yes,
a little, but
yes, but they've had the reset happen now. They're going to be back at their flag cap, trying to gather information of who is where on the map from the Cazadores, and they have destroyed one of the Cazador T1. So River of Blood is they're not in dire straits in
Right.
any meaning of the word. They're doing okay.
They're just not where they want to be.
Yeah.
Right, they have 5.5 minutes right now, and what they're actually looking for is they know that Cazadores is on a strain, so they're trying to find out where that strain is and jump on that. So we could see Paulins and Kufo out, and if they could spot out the west or the 8 line, you'll see River of Blood make a very, very quick move.
River of Blood is spreading out their information gathering, and it's going to be defensive play a little bit from this team. Cazadores really hasn't jumped on the reset from River of Blood. They could have got some more map control, but again, they don't want to isolate any of their tanks or have any of their tanks isolated by River of Blood since that has happened in the past. But now River of Blood is going to be going towards the west side, but they're going to have their T1 scouting the hill, and they could see some heavy tanks on the hill, prompting a push from the west side from River of Blood.
Well, Cazadores, on the other hand, have decided that the River of Blood must have left the hill, and they've assumed this, and now Sapo Pepe is heading back to the hill. He might be able to get 2 T1s, and there's GQ spotted. Sapo Pepe fires, and he misses. But AMX 5100 should be sufficiently fast to get over there, kill these T1s, and get the lead back for the Cazadores. They really need these T1 kills in order to get some kind of lead on this map, in order to come back in this series, keep it from being a 3-0, or make it go to match 4. Because at this point, I feel like just with the way these guys are playing, if River Blood doesn't cap or start cap pressure in the next minute, I say we go to a draw.
Yep.
3
That's my
minutes and
prediction.
56 seconds left on the clock. It is a possibility, but that's why River of Blood is going up the west side towards the flag cap. They will meet some opposition with 2 of the heavy tanks there from the Cazadores. There goes Sapo Pepe destroying GQ. Arg still left alive here, but Cazadores are not going to find any resistance on that hill, and their defensive position of Logos and Cess 28 are going to have to be very, very, very alert
And
here.
Logos peeks out at the perfectly wrong moment as he had a shot lined up on the corner. And there are 2 shots that ring out anyway, and it looks like Cess made a connection. I don't know if
Yes,
Logos did.
Logos did. Doppler took a lot of damage. He was at full health. Now he's down to 563
Oh my,
on his
that's
5100. That was the right tank to hit, and that was great damage against it. That could be a big shutdown for River of Blood a little bit later as they try to hold this defensive position against Cazadores. Kufo may be streaming up the tank alley side, or he may be putting some pressure on the flag cap himself. But River of Blood is all here. They're ready to destroy anything in their path. Doc Golem taking a couple hits, 672 out of 1500 on him. He's in a reverse angle position in the IS-3. He does not get another hit against him because they're focusing on the 5100. Doppler at 181. Captain Blood tries
But
to
coming
block
in
the
hot,
shots.
Paulins and Sapo Pepe are going to get the flank shots they need. And there goes Doppler. Sapo Pepe screaming in now. He's going to unload on Canada. And there is River Blood leaving the cap point now. Cess and Logos are going to come in, try and clean this up. Paulins and Sapo Pepe desperately trying to stop members of River of Blood so that these 2 IS-3s can actually get those shots they need on the backsides of these tanks. There goes Canada.
Cess 28 gets that kill. Logos and the IS-3 still left alive. Kufo taking damage from the rear in the T1 gets another huge hit against the side of his tank. 508 out of 1400. Doc Golem's going to be focused down by Cazadores. Captain Blood and his IS-3 has a lot of health to be able to continue this fight, but is it enough? Jonah 2 in the T1 still left alive here, and he's going to focus on the back of Captain Blood. Captain Blood's able to take down Kufo. Cess 28 and Savagey are going to duke it out behind the husk of this burning IS-3. 390 for Cess 28 on HP against Savagey at 436. Captain Blood trying to line up a pull here. Now this is a little bit bad for River of Blood because Jonah 2 is going to be getting out of there, but the IS-3s can stay on the flag cap and get the capture just in time for the win.
That was such crucial timing. I was talking about how they needed to get there within a minute, and they did, just so that they could clean up the fight. And now we see, if they had waited much longer, this fight would not have ended in time, we would not have seen this cap, and this T1 Jonah would probably have been getting away, causing a draw, salvaging this for the Cazadores. Unfortunately for them, River of Blood has played this fantastically, and even after a long reset at about the 5-minute mark, like you've been talking about, Clutch, we are seeing a win. 3-0 for River of Blood.
10 seconds away in the flag cap. Jonah 2 trying to do anything he can, thinking, what if Cazadores, what if River of Blood left the flag by accident? It is a possibility, but that is no longer a possibility. Blue base is captured. River of Blood takes it 3-0. A decisive play on Himmelsdorf, and it seemed that River of Blood got better surrounds and better hits on those 5100s, isolating them, even though Doppler took a lot of damage approaching that flag.
Yeah, and an appropriate reaction to when they were potentially surrounded when Cazadores returned to cap. Instead of staying on the cap, River of Blood, you notice they all, as a group, got off the cap and attacked one group, overmatching those 5100s, destroying them as quickly as they could. Had they not done that, there would have been IS-3s coming around Cess and Logos to put shots in the back. You would have had a surround in the advantage of Cazadores. A victory probably would have gone to them in the fight. I gotta give River of Blood props for making the right decision in a split second.
Junior, your thoughts?
I think the final fight was a bit dicey back and forth. So we had River of Blood. They were in the position, like Randall spoke, of where they were getting us around. And Cazadores was a little slow on that, but it was the right move for Cazadores. Now, where it went wrong is River of Blood, noticing that, they pushed their 5100s first, and then they have their IS-3s behind. So what that does is they're committing their 5100s to death, but they get enough shots off just to make themselves count. And we can see it here. They're going to lose the 5100. Now, they get their shots off, they get the damage. Now, the IS-3s come in, and they're forcing Cazadores to come into one firing lane. And they have IS-3's superior health and armor and position. So now what happens? Cazadores comes in, doesn't focus the correct tanks, should have been the IS-3s, and now we have the outcome that we have because they have to come in instead of splitting their forces.
Yeah.
Now, what I like is that what Kufo does. Now, one crucial miss, I felt like that could have changed the fight. Kufo fires once on the move, and it doesn't hit home. And he could have finished off an IS-3 and actually gotten away, and I feel like he would have been able to return to the fight and actually probably clean up as this fight 2v1 with an IS-3 versus 2 IS-3s was just finishing up. Maybe we could have seen a Cazadores take it to a draw at that point. I feel like that one shot
probably lost it for him, yeah.
It comes down to that. You know, these little misses. With this level of skill, most people are hitting their shots. You see 1 or 2 misses, and those 1 or 2 misses are the difference between a loss and a win.
Yeah, it was fantastic intrinsic play from both teams, and I think I just have to agree that River of Blood pulled it out a little bit more than Cazadores tonight in every match.
I really love how River of Blood went into the aggression of one of the firing lanes, like you talked about, to cut off the second fire lane. That's what was able for them to win that battle and ultimately this series. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get ready for the next series, and that is going to be Simp versus War and Peace, an undefeated team against a team that has 0 victories so far. We're going to take a break. When we come back, WGLNA continues after this.